fine with me.
Usually, somehow we got the board we got on the house. Usually we just do the scope.
Everything together. Yep.
Somehow we got them, so we're going to use them. You got to do many of the internet stuff?
Yes, I'm doing one right now that's, I don't know how many heads. So I've done it's Jackson County. I've done their live show, it's their hog show. I've done the live show before, and it's like 350, 400 heads. And I think there's probably at least 200 in the virtual deal, but it's so much more time. I mean, I like it because
Okay.
I like the virtual deal because I can sit on my porch and do it, but it's a challenge. Oh, yeah. Well, especially with steers or market lambs, stuff like that, where you're going to have to handle.
Yeah.
I've got to go to Walton Webcasting and do some. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Your wife said, oh, you got a good judge. You got a good judge. And I said, well, I'm not supposed to know, so don't tell me. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
There's a lot.
Oh, everybody does, believe me. I spent a couple work days with her last week, and I was amazed by it.
Handles it well, she handles it well.
Thank you. Thank you. No problem.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our beef show for 2020. I'd like to introduce our Mr. Justin Searwalt. He currently resides in Hillsborough, Indiana, and he's an operations superintendent at ADM Grain. He's a graduate of Purdue University and Blackhawk East. He's a member of the 2009 All-American Livestock Judging Team. He and his wife run a small cow/calf operation focusing on Simmental and Angus genetics.
Are they used to coming in a certain way, or?
I would say just normal show style.
Okay. We'll come in and probably go side by side down there, and then we'll
only go side by side this way.
Okay.
And just a heads up to everyone, after the grand champion starter calf is picked, we will have starter calf showmanship as well. Tonight we're going to start with our heifers and breeding heifers. Your first class is going to be Angus. Showing in this class is Olivia Curry, Hayden Lester, and Taylor Pinkerton. If Jack Witter with his second class can be on deck, please.
How are you today? Good. What age is your heifer?
Born in February.
Okay. How are you today, buddy?
Good, you?
Good. What age is your heifer?
A year.
Okay. Nice job. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. What age is your heifer?
April 27th.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and walk them. Buddy, you're going to be third. You're going to be second. You'll be first. Well, it's nice to be here in Union County today, and we definitely set the bar high as we start with our Angus females. The young lady in the pink shirt brings us the combination female, and really she's the combination of our heifers in second and third. Love the boldness and mass and power as you get right in behind this one. She's so dimensional and stout out through her pins, square and genuine as she goes to the ground, and then when you step away and just view this one parked on the profile, she's got the elite look up front and just the way she can tie her head and neck on the front side of her shoulder. Good and bold through her center body, handles it really, really well. Second and third, we've got some differences in types and kinds, and I think maybe there's some discussion there. I like the extra longevity and just, freshness in terms of the young lady's presentation. I think that one's more angular and neater in the way she's laid in her shoulder. She's fresher through her chest and more attractive up front. I like how this one gets out and goes and just stays very, very flexible. If you compare her to the one that wins, she just doesn't have near as much when you get right in behind her, but still a very high quality female. And then the young man leaves us with one that still offers a lot, and you love just the extra power in this one. And really, if you talk about just a brood cow, you definitely wouldn't be disappointed in just going out into a pasture and seeing a big group of those, because that one's soft-centered, easy-doing kind of a female, but I like her hind leg set. She's just a little plainer as you study her in relation to those other two. You like to lay her shoulder in just a little differently. Excellent way to start. Great group of Angus heifers. Give them a big round of applause.
Junior placing for the Angus heifers, first place. We'll start with third place. Hayden Lester in third place. Olivia Curry in second place. And Taylor Pinkerton in first place. And your
What age is she?
Taylor's champion Angus heifer flock was sponsored by Cooper Family Cattle.
All right, let's spin her around and stop her on profile.
Single entry class here, but much like our winner in the Angus division, just a female that kind of checks the boxes for me of having some dimension and skeleton to her, but yet still being very flexible and comfortable as she gets out and travels. You love the extra substance. I like this female as you get right in behind her and just study her through her forerib, hip shape, still attractive and fresh up front. Young man does a nice job. My compliments to him.
Your champion for Class 2 is going to be Jack Witter. His award is sponsored by Witter Carolet. We'll give Jack just a second to bring in his third class. If we can get Addison's Hereford on deck, please.
What age is she?
April.
Okay. You can go ahead and walk her.
Young man brings us another very high quality female, and maybe one that's
a little bit more of an outlier in terms of her type and kind. Massive foot, huge bone type of a female that's extremely bold and wide from every angle. Definitely one that I think has a future to go on and be a steer mama. One that's maybe a bit more extreme, maybe in terms of her width and power, but I think her angles are still correct. She might get just a skosh rigid there in her pastern, but I think just as far as shoulder angle and having that extra set to her hop, I think there's still plenty of function in this female. There's lots of power and mass to handle there. Nice job. Let's congratulate it.
Bringing in Class 4 here, we have Addison Wheely. If Class 5 with the limousines can get on deck, please.
How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Do you know when your heifer was born?
April 30th.
Okay, nice job. Okay, you can go ahead and walk her. Let's do a big lap and you'll stop down there.
Very high quality Hereford female.
Maybe we switch gears just a little bit in terms of type and kind in relation to the previous female. One that's maybe just a bit bigger in terms of her frame size and offers more extension. She's maybe just laid, she has her muscle shape laid on her just a little bit different in relation to those Charolais heifers that we had. I like this heifer just in terms of extension, foot size, bone, still really good in terms of her skeleton and flexibility. Maybe one that maybe just not doesn't overwhelm you in terms of rib shape and power, but I think still very acceptable in that regard. Really does an excellent job showing her. My compliments to her.
Your champion for Class 4 is Allison Lee, and her class is sponsored by Eastford Transport LLC. We're bringing in your 5th class limousines right now with Olivia Curry and Morgan Cron. If Class 6 with Morgan's other limousine could be on deck, please.
Okay. When was she born?
February 24th.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and walk them. going to be second. You'll be first.
Really nice pair of Lemmy heifers, and I think as you break them down in terms of their skeleton, they're pretty comparable there. I think they're both very flexible and functional type females, but past that, I think the red one's the logical choice out here. I think a female that you really got to be impressed with just how much dimension and power and rib shape you can lay on a skeleton and yet still be functional and comfortable as she gets out and goes. I break her down in terms of her profile. I think she balances very, very well. She's got some depth to her center body and has a maternal look. Good and functional out of her hip. Nice female to start. And that takes nothing away from the young lady's heifer there in second. She may be just a little neater there in her chest and down through her throat in relation to the heifer that wins. But as you get in behind her and just start to study her through her center body, and then in terms of width, there's just not near as much heifer there. She's just quite a bit further behind in terms of a maturity pattern. I think one that'll still be good days down the road. She just needs more time to mature. Two very nice females. My compliments to those exhibitors.
You're placing for Class 5, second place, Olivia Curry, and first place, Morgan Crom. Morgan also had a homegrown in that class, so he will be first place for that as well.
What age is she?
She's born September
Okay.
13th.
Okay, let's go ahead and walk her.
Super competitive fall born that I think's only going to get better and better as days go on.
Think of females, you get right in behind her. You love the extra pin width and just how she stays so genuine down low, but yet from there forward, she's big and bold in her rib cage, still stays angular around her shoulder, balances up well, and stays really functional on the move. Nice job of the young man.
So Morgan's going to be your first place for that class. We're going to bring back in his other heifer to pick a champion limousine. If we could get Natalie's maintainer on deck, please. Again, these are both of Morgan Crom's heifers, Class 5 and Class 6.
really nice pair of Lemmy females, and I think two females that are very similar in their type and kind, just in the way they're built at the ground and having extra big feet, stout in terms of the substance of bone, and then from there out balancing well from the side, really just checking a lot of boxes for me. I think it's close between the two, and I don't know that I can necessarily go wrong because I think I still get very, very high quality on either way I go. But I think between the pair, there's one of them that just packs more punch today, still does it with a longer bodied look from the side, and I think more length out through her hip. Very, very close, but today the older heifer is going to be your champion. Nice job.
Morgan's heifer from class 5, that's going to be your red heifer, is your champion, and his class 6 is your reserve champion. That also means that class 5 heifer is going to be your homegrown champion for this class.
What do you got next? Mains?
Okay. Then I got two cross right after this.
Now we're bringing in Natalie Long with her class 7 maintainer.
I usually do it Wednesday here at Grand Drive.
If we can have the first class of the
Do you do
crossbreds
top
on
5
deck,
homegrown
please.
or just champion and reserve?
Champion reserve on everyone.
Okay, no top 5 on heifers? Okay, cool. When was your heifer born? Okay. You can go ahead and take her a big circle.
Young lady brings us a really massive type of a heifer, and as
As I get right in behind her, I love this one's extra thick end and big hip. Still good in terms of her rib shape, stout in terms of her bone work. She's still fresh and attractive up there through her chest and neck. Maybe tweak her just a bit in terms of her skeleton and a spot or two, but I think she still handles it plenty acceptable. She does a nice job getting her shown. My compliments to her.
Your champion and maintainer for class 7 is going to be Natalie Long. Her plaque is sponsored by East Fork Transport LLC. Starting your first class of the crossbreds, you have Chloe Klein and Kaylee Klein with 2 different heifers. As they're bringing them in, I'd like to read a couple thank yous tonight. Barrett Pressure Washing for power washing the floor. Co-op, Diane Dudley and Brian Brookbank for helping with the Extension Homemaker fundraiser. Sam and John Powers and Jesse Lackey for upgrading the building and office lighting. Damian Risch for building improvements. Kelly Wessler and Kristen Norris for show ring flowers. And the Union County 4-H Boosters and TLC Pet Hospital for donating to help build the storage closet in the building. If we can have the second class of crossbreds on deck, please.
You can go ahead and start us off walking her. Go ahead and take her straight down and then come back. You're good. Young lady, you're going to be in third if you want to take a ride over there. You'll be second, you'll be first. Nice class of lighter weight commercial heifers, and a challenging one to sort because I think we're very similar in terms of types and kinds, and splitting some differences that are pretty minute out here between these three females. I think the bronco-faced heifer, the young lady in the blue, got the combination, one of the two. I think she's the one that still puts a quality, balanced look on the profile with a flexible skeleton, big foot, and heavy structure. Where she beats the heifer in second is when I get right in behind them. She's easily more powerful out through her hip. She's the boldest of the three through her upper skeleton. Stays the most genuine in terms of her base width underneath. The heifer in second is probably the one that I prefer from the side profile out of all three of them. I like the slope to her shoulder. I like the levelness and still being relaxed in her spine. I think she is the levelest hipped of all three of them and still stays functional at the ground. Again, as I get in behind them is when she sorts in two for me. She wants to flatten way too much through her upper rib, taper back through her pins, and want to narrow out just a bit from behind. And then we close with the baldy heifer that I think still has a lot of quality to her. She's sure-footed and long striding, Still balances up okay from her hip forward. It's from her hip back is where I want to change this one. She gets too steep and slopey out of her hip, wants to tuck her hind leg up underneath her. She's the shallowest body to the 3, and one we just need to get some more maturity on and just get some more time. And then I think her best days are ahead of her. 3 very nice females. My compliments to all 3 of the exhibitors.
Clear your first class of compliment. The rest of the meetings is floating line.
Second place is Kaylee Klein's lighter heifer, and first place is Kaylee Klein's heavier heifer. It's also going to be the same placing for your homegrown championship round of that class. Next, we're bringing in our second class of crossbreds. You have Alexis Pinkerton and Wyatt Long. If we can have all the champions from the previous breeds on deck, please, for the grand drive.
Young lady, you're going to be second. You'll be first. Really nice pair of heavier weight commercial females, and I think heifers that are maybe a little more on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of their kind and their build. But I think for me, the red heifer's the one that easily offers the most in terms of dimension, rib shape, and softness through the center part of her body. And yet with that stated, she's still the one that's the most flexible as she gets out and goes out of her hip and hind leg. I think she still reaches further up front. Still balance is good enough for me from the side. I think a nice place to go ahead and start in this class. Young lady's black heifer in 2, maybe just a bit neater there at the point of her shoulder and the way she lays in. I think she probably ties just a bit higher, or excuse me, a bit tighter there at the top of her shoulder as well. She's an attractive one that's fresh fronted and good and extended up front. Again, as we get this one on the move, she gets the too high and tight in her spine. She's tighter as she gets out of her shoulder, straighter and tighter out of her rear hock. Just want to loosen that one up everywhere, and then I think we can definitely make that pair quite a bit closer. Let's give both of them a nice round of applause.
If we could have the first place crossbred for each of the 2 classes assigned to do the champion crossbred. That's going to be Bailey's from Class 8 and White from Class 9.
Where'd the other one go?
I don't know. These kids can't keep
Here he comes. I just noticed your mask. Yeah, we can go ahead and bring him in. Okay, let's go ahead and walk him.
We got a functional catalog here in our champion crossover and drive, and that's what I really appreciate about the pair of them. I think they're good at the ground. They both have good in terms of reach. I like their angles. I guess when it comes down to it, one of them just overwhelms the other in terms of power, spread, and shape. Still balances up well from the side. I like the red heifer to be your champion. Let's congratulate him.
Your champion crossbred heifer is going to be Wyatt Long. That classic sponsored by Brookshire.
I think that one needs to stay. You can bring that one in.
Lexi, can you bring back your crossbred compete for reserve, please?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
Yeah, you can come in. That was second place, right? Yeah, you're good to come in.
You get a competing for reserve champion crossbred. You have Haley Pine and Alexi Dickerson.
I think it gets quite a bit closer out here for reserve. You've got some differences and definitely some give and take. The brothel face heifer up front, I think, is just more comfortable and more correct in her angles. She just doesn't have near as much as you just study her from behind and then study her through her center body. Maybe not just as attractive and balance up quite as nicely from the side. And then we go to our second place heifer, and then just one that I just talked in class. I love her attractiveness up front. Love how neat she's laid in her shoulder and how good she is in terms of her balance and lines and just being very, very, symmetrical from the side. It's when she gets in motion is where I start to question her. You just like to see her more comfortable as she gets out and goes. I think it's close between the two. For me, I think there's just one that offers a more quality look. I think she's got more dimension and more power. The young lady's second place out of that second class is going to be reserved.
And your reserve champion crossbred heifer is going to be Alexi Dickerson. Congratulations, you guys. We're going to get ready for our grand champion heifer drive.
grand as homegrown automatically go to
Yep.
homegrown too?
Yep.
If not, we'll do that
Yep.
second.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we'll just keep working until.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll kick the non-homegrown ones out and pick between them.
Okay.
Go from there.
While we're taking a moment to bring those families back in, I'd like to read a couple more things to tonight. We'd like to be unique hunting words visitors for contributing to the main of the event tonight. Rob Bowler for donating and holding vault for supplying arena. Butler County Rural Electric, they give us the grant for the electric upgrade. Rob West and David Hughes for working on arena on Saturday. Tim Woodruff, Sebastian King,
Back Insurance Group, Union County 4-H Boosters, Kitchell Hot Shots, and the UC Foundation for paying for the live streaming of the shows. United Way for sanitizing equipment, hand sanitizers, and cleaners. And Rebecca Pentecost and the fundraising committee. And Melissa Davis for donating towards expenses. We have Taylor Pinkerton with her Angus heifer. We have Jack Witter for your Charlet heifer. We have Jack's Charlet composite heifer. We have Allison Mimi's Hereford heifer. We have Morgan Crom's limousine heifer. We have Natalie Long's maintainer heifer. And Wyatt Long's crossbred heifer.
We'll go 2 laps. We'll go 2 laps. really impressive set of females as we get all of our breed champion heifers out here, and I'm very, very pleased with each and every one of them. I think they all fit the right mold of being basic in terms of their build, good through the center parts of their bodies, and just being the sum of the totals and just checking the boxes. Maybe not much in terms of outliers and having some extreme parts and pieces, and I'm okay with that. I like them just to bring it all to the table, and I think each and every one of them does that. Before I start to talk about our champion or our reserves, I just want to make sure you guys thank everybody that's helped you get into the ring today. I know there's some people in different counties, states, everywhere throughout the world. We've obviously got a lot of stuff going on right now, and some aren't near as fortunate to be able to get out and exhibit at their county fairs. So make sure you guys be thankful for that. None of this is given. Don't take it for granted. I guess if we've learned anything from what's happened in the past few months, we can't take any of it for granted. We've got to fight for it, and there's been people fighting for you guys, all of your volunteers, extension staff, all of your fair board, everybody involved in making sure you guys made your day in the ring. Make sure you guys thank them, and let's give all of them a big round of applause. Like I said, very pleased with all the females as we get them out here. I think there's very, very good ones throughout the entire day, and there's some that aren't out here that I think were very high quality ones as well. I think as we get to our champion, there's one that I think is just kind of a no debate type deal. She's a no-brainer for me. Just so unique in the way she's so stout and powerful, ultra big and maternal through the center part of her body, yet still putting a fresh head and neck on one like that. It's very, very unique. And then I think it gets a lot closer. I think there's a dogfight between a pair of them for reserve, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. I'll go show you who I'd like to be your supreme female. Let's give them all another big round of applause for all of our exhibitors. Nice job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The reserve Angus. Yeah, there she comes.
It's Living and Curry, second place Angus, I'm in there, please for reserve.
Taylor Pinkerton was your grand champion heifer, and she's also going to be your grand champion homegrown heifer.
You're good.
Coming back in to represent our first class of Angus is Olivia Curry.
Young lady brings in the reserve Angus, and she sure jumps in and fits in really, really nice with the group. I think for me, there's a pair of them that sorted up pretty quick for me, and I think it's very close between the two. And just being transparent, it's the Charolais and the Limousine. I think those are the next ones up, just in terms of being the combination type females, bringing enough of everything to the table in good, balanced, feminine package, but still adding as much extras as we can. I think one of them's a bit bigger footed and stouter in her bone work, fresher chested and fresher necked, and one of them may have just a bit more reach on both ends. I think it's awfully close between the two. Today I like the young man Charolais to be reserved. Let's congratulate him.
Nice job.
Jack Witter is your reserve grand champion heifer.
Like that.
Can we have Alexis Pinkerton's reserve champion heifer for the homegrown round, please? This is going to be your reserve grand champion homegrown. As we bring that heifer back in, Taylor Pinkerton's grand champion heifer picture plaque was sponsored by Eric, Carly, Easton, and Carly Roberts. Her banner was sponsored by the Loeb family Cementals, and her chair was sponsored by Kevin Klein family. The reserve grand champion heifer package was sponsored by Lee, Cindy, and Matthew Elsmeyer in memory of Dr. Jerry Turner. The banner was sponsored by Chris and Lucretia Whitley family, and your chair was sponsored by Chris and Lucretia Whitley. The Homegrown Heifer Grand Champion Award was sponsored by Kyle and Karen Campbell, and the Reserve Grand Champion Homegrown Heifer Award will be sponsored by the Campbell kids.
2 high-quality females out for reserve homegrown. As I mentioned, for reserve supreme, there was another one that was fighting really, really hard to jump in there, and I think she's just still a very, very high-quality female. Definitely not going to leave her out today. It's going to be the young man's red limousine. She's going to be reserve homegrown.
Your reserve grand champion homegrown heifer is Morgan Crom. We're going to transition over to our starter calves. Your first class is going to be Daisy Dishman and Gunnar Dishman. If you could bring your calves up. Don't forget, we're going to be doing starter calf showmanship as soon as your grand champion starter is named, so just pay attention to that. Also, if we can have the second class for the starter calves on deck, please.
I'm good to keep rolling if you guys want to roll. How are you today, young lady? Do you know when this little girl was born? Okay. How are you today? Good. When was she born?
Second week of March.
Okay. Okay, you can go ahead and walk them. You can start us off. Bring her right this way. Go right down the middle and then come back along the fence. Young lady, you're going to be second. Buddy, you'll be first.
Good way to start our starter calf show, and I think two very high quality Hereford appearing females out here to start us with. I love both of them at the ground, and just the extra set they've got to their pasterns, just their loose flexibility that they get out and go with. Love them both just as you break them down in terms of their skeleton. I think the young man's heifer is the one that's just the bigger footed, stouter featured one today that offers more extension up front, more length of body throughout. And then as you get right in on them, she's the one that offers more in terms of upper rib shape, pin width, and power and dimension from behind. I think still a very, very high quality female. Young lady's heifer that's going to be second is probably one that's going to come into a bit more of a moderate frame type. She's still one that's very soft to the center part of her body, maybe has just a bit more depth of body in relation to her frame than the heifer that wins, and I really appreciate that about her. She's just a little further behind in terms of her maturity and just days on feed. Just a very, very high quality female though. She's one that's definitely got a lot of future to her. Let's congratulate both of those exhibitors.
For your first class of starter calves, in second place, Daisy Dishman, and in first place, Gunnar Dishman. Congratulations, guys. Coming in for your second class is Kanan Klein and Gunnar Dishman. If we can have the third class of starter calves on deck, please.
When was she born?
She was born in first 182.
Okay. When was she born?
First week of March.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and welcome. You're going to be second. You'll be first.
Another good pair of starter calves, and for me, the young man's black heifer wins pretty handily.
Just the extra bloom and power she's got through the center part of her body. She's stout in terms of her pin width, wide as she goes to the ground, and yet she's still very, very fresh and feminine up through her front end. Attractively built, kind of a female that handles it really, really well. That takes nothing away from the young man behind him with the Hereford appearing heifer. One that's maybe just a bit bigger in terms of her foot size and stouter in terms of her bone work. I like the length of body she's got too. You just need to give her more through the center part of her skeleton. Like to drop her flank and soften her up there through her rib and just give her more from behind as you just break her down in terms of true rib shape, up high, pin width, and stoutness. Just kind of gets overwhelmed in terms of power in relation to the black heifer, but very, very nice pair. My compliments to those two exhibitors.
You are placing for the second class of starter calf in second place in your judgment is first place Canaan Clark.
Kanan also takes first place for homegrown for that class. Next, we're bringing in our final class of starter calves. You have Ariana Dunaway and Alexis Pinkerton. If we can have Gunner's first class calf on deck and Kanan's second class calf on deck, please.
How are you today?
Good.
You know when she was born?
January 2nd.
Okay. How are you today?
Good.
When was he born, you know?
January 17th.
Okay.
Again, just a reminder, we're doing starter calf showmanship after this.
Okay, let's go ahead and walk them. You're going to be second. You'll be first.
Very nice pair as we get our heavier weight
Starter calves out here, and I think two very high quality animals. The strawberry roan heifer for me, I think, is the combination one that offers more dimension and power through the center part of her body and from behind. Yes, she's still big-footed, heavy structured, fresh and feminine and attractive about her head and neck. Still handles it really, really well and stays flexible in her skeleton. The young lady brings us a very, very nice steer also, and I think a big-footed, heavy-structured steer that's really sound and going to be a really nice project for her. I like his extra softness to the center part of his body. He obviously just doesn't have as much muscle or dimension yet, but I'm sure that's going to come along as he just continues to grow. They both do an excellent job. My compliments to them.
Your second place starter calf for this class is going to be Ariana Dunaway, and your first place is Alexis Pinkerton. Ariana has that first place for the homegrowns. We're going to keep Lexi's in the ring to do our Grand Champion Starter Calf drive. Coming back in, we have Gunnar Dishman from the first class and Kanan Klein from your second class.
Okay, let's go ahead and walk them.
Three very high quality starter females as we get out here for our champion reserve, and I think each one of them is built right. They're built for the long haul. They've all got very, very bright futures ahead of them. And as we just work our way down the line, I think we just continue to build upon bloom, stoutness, power, and dimension. I think for me, it's close between our two heavier class winners. I love them both through the center parts of their body. I love how they both balance extremely well from the side. They're very feminine and attractive about their heads and necks, and still have dimension and shape and spread up high.
I think both are very, very nice females. For me, one of the deciding factors when I study them at the ground in terms of the foot size, bone, which one's the stouter constructed one. I think it's close between the two. The young lady with the short up here in heifer is going to be your champion.
If we can bring in Ariana's starter calf from class 3, please. Your grand champion starter beef goes to Alexis Pinkerton. Congratulations, Lexi. Her chair is sponsored by the Don Rybolt family. Again, coming back in to represent class 3, you have Ariana Dunaway.
Young lady brings her really nice steer in, and he's one that jumps into competition pretty quick.
As I mentioned, there was one that pushed the champion really, really hard, and I like a lot of things about her. She's just a bit frailer at the ground in relation to the champion, but still an awfully good one. It's a young man out of the second class. He's going to be a reserve.
Your grand champion starter calf goes to Kanan Klein. Congratulations, Kanan. That plaque is sponsored by Norman and Mary family. Again, we're going to do starter calf showmanship, so if you are not already up here, start making your way to the show arena, please. We'll start with junior showmanship. That's for anybody who has just completed grades 3 through 5. If intermediate showmanship could be on deck, please.
How are you today?
Good.
Can you tell me something you like about your heifer and something you'd like to change?
Something I like about the heifer is that she's a short horn and that I've always wanted one.
Mm-hmm.
Something else I could change is if she could be a bit more calmer. It would not headbutt me almost constantly.
That would help. How are you today?
Good.
Can you tell me something you like about this guy and something you'd like to change about him?
You have Daisy Dishman, Lexi Pinkerton,
Sometimes
and
I easy to walk.
Ariana Dunaway.
I want to change that he doesn't want to walk a lot. I would like to change that he walks more than he usually does.
Okay. All right. Good job. How are you today?
Good.
Can you tell me something you like about your calf and something you'd like to change about her?
I like how she She likes to obviously show what she feels. That's something I'd like to change.
Uh-huh.
I like that most of the time she cooperates, but when she feels pressure, she doesn't cooperate, and she moves a lot.
Okay. Good job.
Thanks for that.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and walk them. You can lead us off. You're going to follow right behind her. You just need a champion or champion in reserve?
Just champion.
At this time, if we can have both the intermediate showmanship for starter calves and senior showmanship for starter calves make their way to the show arena. Intermediate is going to be anyone completing grades 6 through 8 and past beginner winners. And then your senior is going to be anyone who's just completed grades 9 through 12 and any past intermediate winners. Again, this is starter calf only.
Very competitive class of beginner showmen. I think all three of these young ladies are very deserving to be champion out here. They do an excellent job of just being calm and keeping
Keeping their calf calm. They've all got a lot of control of their calf, and that's step one. And that's the main thing I look for in beginner showmen is just who's got the most control of themselves, who's got the most control of their calf, and who knows where the judge is at. And I think all three of them do that. I think for me, your champion's one that maybe just takes it to the next level in terms of getting those feet set right, getting them set in a timely manner, having some eye contact and some intensity to them. Just does an excellent job. All three of them are going to be great showmen, and they're definitely going to just continue to get better and better as they go on. Today, your champion beginner showman is the young lady with the short horn up front. Let's congratulate her.
Your beginner starter calf showmanship champion is going to be Alexa. Congratulations.
Her plaque is sponsored by Virginia and Don Ballinger family. She is more than welcome to stay in the ring for intermediate. We're bringing in your intermediate starter calf showmanship. If the seniors could be on deck, please. Joining Alexis in the show ring is Gunnar Dishman.
How are you today? I'm doing good. Can you tell me something you like about your heifer and something you'd like to change about her?
Something I'd like to change about her, I'd like to get her more square and more deep depth. Something I like about her is she's really pretty feathers and she looks really good as a calf.
Yep. All right, nice job. Okay, let's go ahead and walk them.
While we're finishing up starter calf showmanship, can we have the first class of steers start lining up, please? That first class is going to be your key steers.
Well, out here for intermediate showmanship, we bring the young
Lady back that wins the beginner group, and she fits in really, really well in this division. Still does an awesome job, very polished, very poised. I think her heifer's getting a little tired on her and maybe just not wanting to go quite like she wants to. Maybe wanting to throw herself out of line a little bit, but she's still hanging in there and doing an awesome job. And then the young man comes in, and he just comes in and never misses a beat. Love his eye contact, his intensity. I think he's very smooth as we talk about show stick and foot placement. Does an excellent job. I think you both are going to be great showmen on down the line. Today for your champion intermediate, it's going to be the young man.
Your intermediate starter calf showmanship
Goes to Gunnar Dishman. Congratulations, Gunnar. You're more than welcome to stay in the ring for senior showmanship. His plaque was sponsored by Farm Credit Mid-America. We're going to go ahead and bring in senior starter calf showmanship. And then again, if that first class
The only one?
of steers can line up, that's going to be your key steers.
Okay. I'll talk them.
Well, he made it all the way through. Young man's gonna be our champion senior showman as well. I think he's one that could stand quite a bit of competition. He really does an awesome job. Stays very smooth and calm, cool, and collected.
Yet you can tell he's got that intensity. Very nice showman, very well rounded. Let's give him a round of applause.
Again, Gunnar Dishman will be your senior starter calf showman. His plaque is sponsored by Tom and Tony Berry family. As we transfer
What
over
our steer
to
classes
our
look
market
like.
animal classes, I'd like to thank a couple of our Union County 4-H boosters. That's Abernathy Auction and Real Estate, Terry and Brenda Abernathy,
Okay.
Mass State Bank, Beacon Ag Group, Roger Butterfield,
Okay. 3 classes
Deacon and
across
Jennifer
spread.
Cashdollar,
Everything else
Brian
is one
and Jenny
class.
Creek,
Okay.
Richard, Ashley, and Brooke Curry, David and Diane Dudley, Element Electrical Maintenance, Franklin County Farmers Mutual Insurance, Harold Gilmore, Green Meadow Farms, and Jamie H. Attorney at Law. Coming in the ring for your first class, you have Blake Cheatham, Kiana Carson, and Peyton Logue.
What did he weigh?
1240.
Okay. What'd your steer weigh? Okay. What'd your steer weigh?
1385.
Okay.
If we can have the Hereford steers on deck, please.
Okay, let's go ahead and walk them. You're going to be third. You'll be second. You'll be first.
Really deep class of steers to start off with.
I think very high quality ones all the way down the line. Young man steer's the one. As I break them down on the profile, he's the most proportional. He's the one that's maybe just a bit more moderate in terms of his frame size. But as I break him down at the ground, massive foot laid under him, heavy structured, big and bold through the center part of his body. He's still big and wide from behind, square and genuine underneath, and I think still gets out and handles it plenty acceptable for me. Young lady's black steer on the far side is going to be in second. I think a steer as you get your hands on him, he's as impressive as our class winner. He's big and square out of the back of his shoulder. He's a steer that still handles it really well, and I think he's got enough muscle and dimension for me. He's a shot bigger in terms of his frame size maybe than I'd like to see, and I think that might throw him off balance just a little bit, makes him look a little harder through the center part of his body and back through his flank, and I think that's where the difference is in the top pair. I'd like to just drop him in his flank, maybe just make him a shot more moderate in terms of his frame, but I think a steer that's got loads of quality to him. And then the young lady brings us the muscle power steer of the class. This guy's got loads of product in him, big-footed, heavy structured. He's a little coarser and more out there in terms of the set of his shoulder, a little tighter as he gets out and reaches up front. He's a bit rounder and more restricted out of his hip. Three really nice steers to start off with. My congratulations to all those exhibitors.
For your key class, you have third place, Kiana Carson, second place, Kate Lowe, and first place, Blake Hughes. Blake is also European team each year. This class is sponsored by Transport LLC. We're moving into the Hereford steer with Sophie Pentecost. Please board to bring his limousine steer on deck, please.
There you go. All right, let's take him a little circle and stop him over there. Young lady brings us a really complete Hereford steer. I think's got some muscle to him. I think he's about 12 o'clock in terms of his finish. I really appreciate that about him. Yet he's still a steer that's ultra big in terms of his foot size, flexible in his skeleton and balance as well. He's wanting to give her a little bit of a fit out here, but she's hanging in there and doing an excellent job with him. My compliments to her.
Moving on to the limousine steers, you have Morgan Crom. If Taylor can get on deck with her main steer, please.
What did he weigh?
1195.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and walk him.
This young man's doing an excellent job, and I think he's really doing a good job of breeding some awesome Limmy cattle. I think this is the third
Really nice calf that he's brought to us, and I think a very high quality steer that I really appreciate when I get my hands on him. This guy bulks up with big squareness right out of the back of his shoulder. I like his extra rib shape. I like his power and shape from behind. He's still square and genuine at the ground. I guess in big picture scenario, he probably just needs a little more time on feed just to get a bit more condition and finish. But past that, he puts a lot of good things together. He does an excellent job showing him. Let's congratulate him.
That plaque was sponsored by Daryl and Virginia Stinson. Morgan also had a first place homegrown limousine right there. Coming in the arena is Taylor Pinkerton with her main steer. If we can get Haley Lester with her market heifer on deck, please.
What did he weigh?
1280.
Okay. You can go ahead and walk him.
young lady brings us an excellent main steer that can handle quite a bit of heat
Out here, I think one, as you get your hands on him, extremely massive in terms of his top shape. I think he's 12 o'clock in terms of his finish. Bold everywhere as you get right in behind him, yet I think a steer that's still practical and soggy through the center part of his body, tucked up and neat in his chest and fresh and attractive about his head, gets out and handles it really, really well. She does a nice job. Let's congratulate her.
Champion. Congratulations, Taylor. That plaque was sponsored by East Fork Transport, LLC. Bringing in her market heifer is Haley Lester. If we can get the shorthorn steer on deck, please.
What did she weigh?
1340.
Okay. Okay, you can go ahead and walk her. Really nice market heifer, and from the side, one that you like the extra boldness and softness through her center body, yet she's still attractive and proportional. As you get your hands on her and get right in behind, I think this is easily just the most massive and dimensional top I've seen so far today. Extremely bold and powerful out through her hip and stifle. I think one that's still got a lot of good about her. Is she ideal in terms of her skeleton? No, she's not. I'd like to see her just get out and reach better off both ends. But that one's packing a lot of punch, and she does a nice job with her. My compliments to her.
Your champion market heifer is Haley Lester. That plaque was sponsored by Brooke Curry. Bringing in her shorthorn steer is Kyra Carson. If we can get the shorthorn plus on deck, that's going to be Dexter and Kale.
You know what this big guy weighs?
1360.
Okay. You can go ahead and walk him. Just make a big lap. think he's going to win any races. This little young lady brings us a big, stout, shorthorn steer that's really, really bold and wide from every angle. I love this guy through his upper skeleton and just the width that he's got when I get my hands on him. He's a steer that's maybe just a little bolder and set out in terms of his shoulder. Maybe one you want to see move just a little bit freer on both ends, but I think a steer that's still got a lot of product and practicality to him. I love how this guy just geared so slow for her, and you can tell that she's been working with him an awful lot. She does an awesome job with him. Let's give her a round of applause.
Your short horse steer champion is going to be Tyra Tarkin. Congratulations. Your plaque is sponsored by
Thanks for Transport LLC. We're going to bring in our Shorthorn Plus. Exhibiting tonight, you have Dexter Schlichter and Cale Carson. If Katie Carmack could bring her Cemento on deck, please.
What'd this guy weigh?
1460.
Okay. What'd your steer weigh?
1380.
Okay. Okay, let's walk them. You'll be second. You'll be first.
Good pair of Shorthorn Plus steers, and I think a pair of them that offer quite a bit of differences. But when it comes down to it,
There's just so much more here in our young man's blue roan steer up front to start. As I get my hands on this guy and just how he feeds out of the back of his shoulder, that one's an absolute beast in terms of back shape, extremely stout pinned and wide-ended. Really bold as he goes to the ground, still having some foot size and stoutness of feature. I like him through his center body, still proportions well from the side. In this class, I call his skeleton acceptable. Is the steer behind him laid in neater and more functional about his shoulder? Is he neater chested and just fresher about his head and neck? Absolutely. But from there back, he just gets blown away in relation to the steer that beats him. He flattens too much right out of the back of his shoulder, narrows up a bit from behind. But I think a steer, as you talk about angles, correctness, and still being attractive, I like that about him. My congratulations to both of those exhibitors.
You are chasing for that class. Second place is the reserve champion is Gail Carson. First place and champion is going to be Dexter Schlichter. Dexter's plaque
It's
is
sponsored by
Carson
Carson Livestock. Congratulations, guys. Entering the ring is Katie Carmack. If we can have Sophie's Crossbred on deck, please.
What'd this big guy weigh?
1,400.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and walk him.
Young lady brings us a nice semi-steer, and I guess
one that I'd label as a meat and potatoes kind of a steer. Nothing real flashy and fancy, but really just brings us the essentials of product and power, yet still having the right degree of finish, still putting it together in a good balanced package from the side and handling with a flexible skeleton. A good steer to go ahead and win this class. My congratulations to the young lady.
See.
What's that?
No, class 9, so we'll go straight to 10.
Okay, so 2 classes across
Yeah.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
Bringing in her crossbred is Sophie Pentecost. If we can have the next class of crossbreds, that's going to be another one of Sophie's, Peyton Logues and Kiana Carson's. Hold on, Kiana.
What'd this steer weigh? Okay.
So just a correction for those of you watching at home.
What did he
all
weigh?
4 of these ladies, 3 of these ladies are going to be in your same class for crossbreds.
What'd this guy weigh? Okay. You're good right there. I'm gonna get
So
my hands
we're going to need the
Hold
class
still, buddy.
3 crossbreds. That's going to be Lexi's and Brooks on deck, please. And in the ring, if you missed it, we have Sophie Pentecost, Peyton Logue, and
If he'll
Kiana
stand
Carson.
there, I'll get him. Okay, you can take him back in line. You can start us off and go ahead and walk them. You're going to be third. You'll be second. You'll be first.
Good class to start with on our crossbreds, and maybe some sort, just as we talk about muscularity, finish, and skeleton. But I think the combination wins the young lady in the yellow shirt. And if we just talk about mass and dimension and who has the most product, I think that's where he wins easy in this class. Easily blows the other two away as I get my hands on him in terms of spread and shape and turn to the top. I think a steer that's easily the most optimum in his degree of finish and the most correct at this stage of the game in terms of finish. I still like him through his center body and out through his hip. I think a steer that's still attractive about his head and neck. Is the second place steer laid back neater in his shoulder and more correct in through his knee? Absolutely, and that allows him to take a better reach out front. But I think past that, as you just study him through his rib and out the back of his shoulder in terms of muscle, I think he just runs out of gas through the upper part of his skeleton, just not near as powerful as our class winner wants to get just a shot rounder out of his hip. And then the Hereford appearing steer that rounds out the class. If you talk about one being
Sure-footed and sound, I think he's probably the soundest one in the class, and I really appreciate that about him. He's one for me that's just the plainest and the flattest and the narrowest in relation to those others, but I think a steer that you really appreciate for his build and flexibility. Good class of crossbred steers. My compliments to all three of those exhibitors.
Your champion for that classic crossbred, third place, Sophie Pentecost.
First place with the homegrown. Second place, you have Kiana Carson. In first place, you have Peyton Logue. We're going to bring in our second class of crossbreds. You have Alexis Pinkerton and Brooke Curry. If Peyton can bring hers back around, that way we'll have him for the champion crossbred drive.
What did he weigh?
1390.
Okay. What'd this big guy weigh?
When we weighed him at home, he weighed 1450.
Okay. Let's walk them. Yep, you're good. Right down the middle and then come back along the fence. You're going to be second. You'll be first. Good way to round out our steer classes, and I think we've got a logical one to start with. The combination steer of the class that's massive as you get your hands on him, smooth in terms of his condition, yet I think where his real advantage is when I step away and view the pair on the profile. Love his attractiveness and freshness up front. He's good in his lines, good out of his hip. Love how this guy gets out and reaches and grabs the surface with so much flexibility. Young lady's got us to steer from a product standpoint that has a lot of value to him. He's a high cutability type steer that's got some muscle shape and a yield grade advantage to him. It's when we ask this guy to move is when he runs into his biggest struggles. He's just too straight and tight about his shoulder, too tight out of his hip and hind leg. Didn't balance up quite as well as our winner. But two very high quality steers. My congratulations to those two young ladies.
Congratulations, ladies. We'll keep you broken free and bring in love.
You're placing for that second class of crossbreds with second place, Alexis Pinkerton, and first place, Brooke Curry. Alexis did have a first place homegrown there. If we can start getting the champions from all the previous market classes making their way back up, that would be Blake Cheatham with his Key, Sophie Pentecost with her Hereford, Morgan Crom with his Limousine, Taylor Pinkerton with her Maine, Haley Lester with her Market Heifer, Kyra Carson with her Shorthorn Steer, and Dexter with his Shorthorn Plus, Katie with her Seminole, and then we'll see who our crossbred champion is.
Okay, let's walk them.
Good pair of steers as we get out here for our champion crossbred, and two steers that offer the fat steer
Fundamentals of having some product and muscle, yet still being right in terms of their finish and condition. I think when it comes down to it, when we set the pair in motion, there's one of them that struggles just a bit out of his shoulder and knee, and one of them that can just get out here and be an athlete and do laps. Help me congratulate the young lady out of the heaviest class 100 champion crossbred.
Your champion crossbred here is going to be Brooke Curry, and your reserve champion. We're going to bring Lexi back in for your reserve champion.
Well, as we get out for reserve, like I said, both steers that maybe I want to tweak in an area or two in terms of correctness and structure, I think when it comes down to it, there's one that's just more genuine and wider
At the ground, I think he balances better from the profile. Young lady up front's got your reserve crossbred.
Your reserve champion crossbred is going to be Mason Loeb. We're going to move on to our Grand Champion drive. As the exhibitors make their way up to the show arena, we'd like to recognize a couple more of our 4-H boosters, H&R Block, Cindy Pruitt, Don and Beth Jackson, Don E.
I
Nolan,
think we will.
David and Betty McDill,
Okay.
Meryl Grain Inc.,
Is that about what we
Davey
had for
Krista
heifers or
and
more?
Carly Norris, Nutrient Ag Solutions in Brookville, Craig Osborne, and Patriot Sales.
Okay. We'll just have them take their time and we'll get it.
Starting off our Grand Champion drive is going to be Blake Cheatham with his key. Coming in next with the Hereford is Sophie Pentecost. Behind her with the limousine steer is Morgan Crom. Following close behind with the main steer is Taylor Pinkerton. Behind Taylor is Haley Lester with her market heifer. Next is your shorthorn steer, led by Kyra Carson. Coming in is your shorthorn plus by Dexter Schlichter. Your Seminole is Katie Carmack.
I'd say so. We'll make it work.
We have a little traffic jam here, but after Katie will be Brooke Curry with her crossbred. You don't have to come up to the ring, but just be on standby. Your reserves.
What did he weigh?
1240.
What did he weigh?
217.
Okay. What did he weigh?
1194.
What did he weigh?
1280.
What did she weigh?
1340.
What did he weigh?
1360.
Okay. What did he weigh?
1460.
Okay. What did he weigh?
1400.
Okay. What did he weigh?
1390.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and walk them. We'll do 2 laps.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Stay in tight and stay against the hips, right? Just go ahead and wait just a second. We'll let them roll through. Yeah, you'll stop when you get back up here, though.
Just have them do another lap and we'll go head to tail.
Really competitive steer show all the way through. I guess
Market animal show, because we do have the market heifer out here. I think as we get them all out here, I'm very, very pleased with each and every one of them. Again, I'm not going to say a whole lot as far as a speech or anything like that. I kind of talked through it on the heifer grand drive, but just be thankful for being able to get out here and exhibit and show all the hard work that you've done throughout the summer. I know it's been a weird year and a lot of things have maybe been called off, but definitely the time that you guys have put in the barn with your animals, that's something that didn't get canceled. You guys were still out there every day, just put the work into it, and just be very proud that you were able to get out and get these things showed off. So make sure you guys give a personal thank you to everybody that's out here that's helped you guys get to where you're at. Not only just the people that are helping with the show, but your parents or anybody that's helped you get here today. And you guys definitely haven't done it completely on your own. I'm sure you've done a bulk of the work, and it definitely shows, but be very, very proud of it. Again, maybe if we've learned anything from 2020, we just can't take things for granted. We've got to work for them and maybe just start to think outside of the box. Go ahead and give all these kids and everybody that's involved in the show one more big last round of applause. I won't spend any time going through and talking each one of them. I think they all fit the right mold of having some market animal fundamentals of product and finish, yet still being sound enough in terms of their skeleton and proportional from the side. I mentioned I'm not big on extremes or any certain types and kinds. I just like them to bring enough of everything to the table, and I think each and every one of them does that. I think there's probably 3 or 4 of them that maybe just put some more extras on and have some more bells and whistles that I think soared up a little further for me. And of those 3 or 4, I think there's 2 of them that are just more flexible, more comfortable, and have bigger motors as we get out here. I won't talk anymore on these steers. I think it's been an awesome set. Again, I think there's a pair of them that hit me just a little bit harder, just in the way they can combine muscle, power, balance, and flexibility. Give them another round of applause, and I'll go show you your champion in reserve. Congratulations. Nice job. No reserve to that one, right? Okay. Congratulations. Nice job. Okay. And what do we keep out here for that?
You keep the Wimmy.
Okay.
And that's it.
Your grand champion marching animal goes to Taylor Kingston. That's your reserve sponsored by Joe Benedict and St. Falcon County. Champion is sponsored by Jerry and Brenda Abernathy.
And her chair is currently unsponsored. Brooke Curry was your reserve grand champion market animal. Her picture plaque is sponsored by Peyton, Jordan, and Colton Loeb. Her banner is sponsored by Wolf Farms, Orrin and Diane Wolf. And her chair is sponsored by Wolf Farms as well. Taylor Pinkerton is also your grand champion homegrown market animal, and her banner is sponsored by A&A Optics.
One more.
We're going to take a short break. They want to get the pictures of Stan.
Okay.
You don't have to wear your mask as long as you stay 6 feet away.
That works. Fine by me.
We're going to take one last look at these homegrowns here to pick a reserve grand homegrown. Once we pick this homegrown reserve grand, we're going to take a little break before we do showmanship. Left in the running for your reserve grand homegrown, you have Lexi Pinkerton, Katie Carmack, and Morgan Crom.
Three nice steers that come out here for our reserve homegrown, and I think each one of them is very deserving
To get a piece. I think all steers that are muscular and maybe just vary a little bit in terms of degree and finish and skeleton. I think for me, the one that's the next best in terms of combination of being flexible, being massive, and still being 12 o'clock in terms of where he needs to be in terms of condition. That's this young lady in the center. She's going to be a reserve homegrown.
Your reserve grand champion homegrown marching animal goes to
Nice job.
Carmack. That banner is sponsored by Donnie and Beth Jackson and Gimli. Again, we're going to take a little break before we do showmanship for our induction round of pictures and for everyone to take a break.
back into showmanship. We're going to start first with junior showmanship. That's anyone who has just completed grades 3 through 5. As we're getting started with our junior showmanship tonight, again, just to echo our judge, I'd like to thank all the parents out here tonight and also caretakers that are getting these kids to these shows, getting us up early to go feed our animals or take care of if we forget to at night. And we know you guys put in as much blood, sweat, and tears as we do. So kids, make sure you thank your parents and also just be really grateful that we're getting to have this show this year. I'd also like to thank the association for all the hard work they've put in to put on this fair, and also Jennifer Logue over here for all her hard work, both with extension and just everything related to 4-H.
Okay, I'll do him maybe.
If the intermediate showmanship could get on deck, please. That's anyone grades 6 through 8 or anyone who has completed, who's a past junior winner. You have Lexi Pinkerton and Addison Levy for junior.
We've got two young ladies out here for junior showmanship that just do an awesome job, and they've done an awesome job all day as they came throughout the ring. I love just how relaxed and calm they are, yet still how relaxed they can keep their calf and just keep their calf comfortable. I talked about the basics when we were in starter calf showmanship of having control of yourself, having control of your calf, having some awareness of where the judge is at, and then just starting to do the little things to start to build upon that. And I think each of them do that extremely well. I think for me, your champion is one that's just a bit more efficient in the way they get their feet set on their calf. A lot of times she'll try to walk it into it and maybe not have to use the show stick quite as much, but I think both of these young ladies do an awesome job. For me, your champion in this division is going to be the young lady up front. Let's give her a round of applause.
Your junior showmanship champion is Addison Wee. Addison, you are more than welcome to stay in the ring to compete for intermediate if you choose. Senior showmanship, go ahead and head up to the ring. That way we can get out of here as it rains. As we're bringing in our intermediate showman here, I'd like to thank the tech and audio guys here tonight. You guys have been an awesome job throughout this entire week, and I know everyone at home really appreciates that with these unprecedented circumstances this year. I'd also like to thank my Queen Court, Miss Sarah Myers, first runner-up, and second runner-up, Harley Kiesling, and Miss Personality for helping me this year with all the awards and all the cleaning and sanitizing. Joining Addison for intermediate is Kiana Carson.
another good pair of young ladies that can just get out and just flat get it done as far as getting these things shown and presented to the highest degree. I think they both do an awesome job, and they've both got them stuck completely right now. I like their intensity. I like their ability to stay composed. The young lady comes in, with the yellow steer, and I love her extra eye contact. She's very, very intense and aggressive. Calf's wanting to throw her around just a little bit and get her over towards the fence, but she's still getting after it. So I think it's very close between the two. Again, I think there's one person that's just a bit more efficient in the way she gets her calf set up. That one never missed a beat and was set up every time I looked at it. Young lady's on a roll. The one up front's going to be your champion in the intermediate division. Let's give her a round of applause.
Your intermediate showman is going to be Addison Louie again. Congratulations, Addison. She is more than welcome to stay in for senior showmanship. Joining us in the ring for senior showmanship is Haley Lester, Katie Carmack, Peyton Logue, Morgan Crom, Taylor Pinkerton, and I think Blake Cheatham's going to slip right in as well. Both the junior showmanship plaque was sponsored by Dare Trucking LLC, and the intermediate showmanship plaque was sponsored in memory of Hugh and Gladys Pinkerton. As we get started here with senior, I'd like to thank our judge for coming out here tonight. Mr. Steerwall, you've done an amazing job, and we really appreciate your time. We hope you have a safe drive home. We know it was a long one for you.
Well, it's always encouraging to get into senior showmanship and have this many kids committed to coming out at this age to get out here and get after it in showmanship. A lot of times I'll see large numbers in the younger groups, but it seems like a lot of times maybe there's a lack of interest as we get to the older kids. So my hat's off to you guys for sticking to it and getting with it, getting out here and being very, very competitive in showmanship. As we get out here for Champion and Reserve, these young people just never miss a beat, do an awesome job. Every one of them can just really get after it and get to showing these things at a very, very high level. My compliments to each and every one of you, and I think different days and different circumstances, I think each one of you can go on and be a Champion and Reserve. I think there's a pair of young ladies that maybe start to surface a little quicker for me in just their abilities to have that much extra intensity, eye contact, and be able to get those cattle's feet set literally without using their stick. A lot of times they'll just walk them into it, and that thing looks like $1 million every time. I think there's two of them that do it at a very, very high degree, and I thought it was close as soon as they hit the ring between the two. I never really got any of them to really make a big mistake. I walked them a little extra time just to see if I could get one of them to maybe slip up just a bit, and they never really did. So I guess for me what came down to, as we just continue to walk them and work with them a little more, one of them's calf just got a little more sluggish and maybe just didn't want to work with her quite as well. But I think everybody out here does an awesome job. Reserve senior, young lady in the pink. Champion, young lady in the yellow shirt. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Awesome group of senior showmen.
Your reserve champion senior showman is going to be Taylor Pinkerton, and your champion senior showman is Peyton Logue. Congratulations, ladies. That senior showmanship champion picture plaque is sponsored in memory of Julian and Ruth Logue, and the chair is sponsored by Richard and Ashley Curry. Again, congratulations to all of you tonight. You guys did an amazing job. We'd like to thank everyone watching at home for tuning into the Beef Show tonight. And this pretty much wraps up our fair week. We've got round robin tomorrow, and I believe on Friday we have the dog show and 10-year senior recognition night.